kind and touching acknowledgement from an institution that owes me not a single thing more than its already given. There was probably a time in my life where McDevitt was one of the biggest parts, maybe second only to my parents. And it's nice at this time to kind of look back where life started to take shape and kind of reflect on things. The timing's a little suspicious because my wife Sophia and I had spent the last year looking at high schools for our oldest daughter Ava. And when you're on these amazing campuses, with their hockey rinks and their planetariums, and you remember the McDevitt Planetarium, right? Went to the inside and looked up. I think back to that solitary building in Wyncote, that was small in size, but was just bursting with spirit and growth and laughter. Not only am I thankful that I went to McDevitt, I'm thankful I went to McDevitt in the 80s when things were a little more laid back. In our cafeteria, every meal was like one you would get before you were being executed. Cheesesteak, cheese fries, 32-ounce soda, hot fudge sundae. Third lunch, 10:08 in the morning, 5 days a week. In the days of helicopter parents and bubble wrap, I will have you know our cross-country team practiced every day in 50-mile-an-hour oncoming traffic on Eastern Road. I say to Mr. Boyce, this is dangerous. He's like, you might get hurt, you might even die, but we got judge on Friday. Run, dummy. But it's the people in McDevitt that I remember. I can say names like Mr. Manieri or Mr. Pastorius or Mr. Boyce, and all these things. Mr. Pastorius was a national treasure. He made fun of you, everyone laughed at you, and you lived, and you went on, right? So if you were failing his class, and you were going over the homework assignment, and you were stammering through, and you knew you didn't do it, he would start going, and that was his imitation of the SEPTA driver that was going to take you down the Cardinal Dougherty for going. But all of these things gave us the tools we needed to do the great things in life, to be like a life-saving paramedic or a military hero or to anchor a newscast. And it's the people of McDevitt that we really celebrate. Pardon. It's a little bittersweet that I can't share this day with my parents, Jim and Peg Garberina. Everyone who knew them loved them, and if you didn't know them, you'd have loved them too. They adopted and raised 4 children, gave us the best home. They would have gotten a kick out of this if for no other reason than if you told them about sophomore year that I was going to be in the Hall of Fame. They would have laughed in your face. And as a testament that life can be surprising and wondrous and beautiful, my birth parents, Kevin and Anita, are here today, as well as Kevin's lovely wife. Anita has owned her own marketing company for 40 years, and Kevin works for Merrill Lynch, but if you ask my daughters what he does, he smokes cigars and watches Fox News. The most important person here is my beautiful wife of 25 years, Sophia. The first 2 years we were dating, whenever I ran into somebody at McDevitt, I would say, this is my girlfriend, Sophia. And they would say, hey, Sophia, how you doing? And then they would pull me aside and be, seriously, who is she? She's like your cousin or something like that? Take one out of here, she's pretty cute. It wasn't exactly like Will Chamberlain in high school, so they were a little surprised. And I totally get their surprise at it, because the first time she walked out of the house for a date, I remember thinking to myself, take a picture for the yearbook, buddy. There's not going to be a second date. I've never seen anybody, and you would have been surprised too. Imagine like Michelle Pfeiffer on a date with Napoleon Dynamite. But, to my surprise, there was a second date, and just a perfect courtship. And then a fairly excruciating engagement, because I was down in North Carolina and she was finishing up law school. And then residency where, to call me an absentee husband would be rather generous. And then a military service that kind of delayed our family. But all through that time, she's been a wonderful supportive spouse. And she gave me the greatest gift that anyone has ever given me in my life. My Maserati. I mean, no, my sorry. To my beautiful daughters, Ava and Lila, I know that, you look at me and you can't understand that there was a time like you, I had so many questions about the world and maybe my place in it, but I can assure you that I was. And I'm here today because I stood on the shoulders of Grandma and Pop-Pop and eventually Mom, and we're going to be there for you too. This day relates to you because any path that led me to you is a path that I cherish, and Devin was one of those. So there's one other person I have to acknowledge because I literally would not be here without him, and that's the guy who nominated me, Ed McLaughlin. If there were a Hall of Fame for best friends, Ed would be a first ballot guy. You know, I think it says something that, you know, about 10 people call Ed their best friend. I'm the only one that's correct, but about 10 people. I found it first. But, you know, when I've been best friends with Ed since I was in first grade, and one of the reasons was that my mom, Peg, loved Elaine, his mom. I love her too. She's just the best human being on earth. And that was the only house I was allowed to sleep over, right? You know, I'd be like, can I sleep over at Paul Greenberg's? And my mom's like, well, Paul set about 4 fires last night. Let's put it together. One Friday I'd be in Ed's, the next Friday he'd be in mine. And we would watch the show called The Dukes of Hazzard. The Dukes of Hazzard was like, it was like about these like bootleggers who were always one step ahead of, you know, the corrupt sheriff, the politician. It was kind of like a Robin Hood theme. And we loved this show so much that when it wasn't on, Ed would ask me to sing the theme song to him. And I would sing it a cappella to him like he was my baby. I would just sing the song. And at the end of one of these shows, we would be so amped up. We'd be like, oh my God, you know, that's going to be us when we get older. You know, we're gonna get in our cars. We're gonna go in town. We're gonna cause all kinds of trouble. The cops are gonna chase us. We're gonna barely get away. And then the next day, we're gonna go on with our lives like it's nothing. And the funny thing is, when we got to McDevitt, that's pretty much what happened. But the one difference between us and the Dukes of Hazzard is occasionally we were apprehended, but that's okay. But you know, I am so touched to be here to share with you this great experience. And you know, I thank Dan for keeping this light alive at McDevitt. It was such a wonderful 4 years of my life, and you know, I wouldn't have the wonderful family that I have, and whatever achievements I've been able to have. It all started there, and I just kind of followed the lead of the wonderful classmates I had that showed me the way early. So God bless and go Lancers.